Welcome to Real Herbalism Radio from River Road Studios in Eugene, Oregon. Today's show is brought to you by the Herbal Nerd Society.
The Herbal Nerd Society is a collection of really awesome, cool people.
Really? You always say that.
I think you say that.
Awesome and cool.
It's so funny you say that every time.
Because they are. They're really cool people.
Yes,
I love the Herbal Nerd
them.
Society.
I appreciate them because they keep us on our toes and they make me a better web person. I get that all the time. So,
They make me smile.
you know,
They
and they
make
help
me
us.
smile.
They support this, which in turn supports us to do this. So
Yep.
Yeah.
it's a nice
It's
give and take.
it's our little exclusive club that we have that is $4.99 a month,
Mm-hmm.
and you get exclusive articles. People have said several times, "Well, I tried to read your article, but it said I had to be a member." Like that one did, yeah.
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 So you might want to become a member, sweetheart, because clearly you know what you're missing here, don't you?
Yeah.
So, but that helps us pay our bills, and it's a really cheap way to get an herbal education. I can tell you that. You ain't gonna get that somewhere else.
Too right.
Yep.
Too right.
So,
All right. And Hunter Creation, graphic design and website designers, putting your marketing ideas to life, whether that's business cards or brochures or a rockin' new website. They can help you out. Contact them at huntercreation.com. Get healthy now with Candace.
Get Healthy Now with Candace is my clinical herbal practice. I work with folks near and far. I can do distance consults using Zoom
Meetings?
Zoom meetings. And if you're looking for help and inspiration and would like to get healthy, give me a call.
right on.
All right. Occupy Medical.
Occupy Medical is an integrated health free clinic right here in Lane County, Oregon. We are a 501c3, and we are located at 1717 Centennial Suites 4 and 7. And you can donate to us any time because we are we'll give you a tax receipt, and check us out at occupy-medical.org.
Ace High Heat Graphics, custom and printed t-shirts or hats, any kind of apparel. You want to put your logo or message on something for your group or organization, they can help you out. Contact them at acehighheatgraphics.com. And Sierra Lupe
Herbal Consulting is my own little herbal thing. And I also do distance and in-town consulting. And my specialty is on chronic illnesses. And I work with medication. And it's just kind of fun to do. So that's what I do. There you have it. So how do you get a hold of me? You go Sierra Lupe, Herbal Consulting @gmail.com.
All right. Don't forget that we're on the social networks. We're on Facebook. We are on Instagram.
Yes,
We at the
are.
hashtag The Back to Herbalist. Plus, we already have an Instagram page as well.
Yep.
I believe we are on the Twitter.
We are
on the Twitter.
We are the
Yes.
Twitterist.
We're
Yes,
on
we are.
Twitter as well. So if you want to reach out to us, we are there and we will be joining in conversations. I know, Sue, you're really active on Facebook.
Mhm.
If you like the podcast and have been a long-time listener or a first-time listener and really like it, nothing helps us out better than a review.
Yes, please send us a review.
We would
really-
love to hear more.
Yep.
All right. With all that, it's time for the show. It's show 171, which is our Herb Lab show. Today we're talking about our discussion with Sara-Chana Silverstein about Moodtopia in her book and how to handle our moods and how to make things better with herbs and all of that good stuff. And it's been a trying beginning of the year. I mean, it's only a couple, 2 weeks in, and already I'm looking across the table. To people, it looks like they've had a month already.
We look
So-
like caca. That's what you're saying.
I wasn't saying that, but
It's a really
So-
nice way of putting it, but
Yeah.
Right.
it might be accurate.
So without any further ado, now here are your hosts, Candace Hunter and Sierra Lupe.
I'm Candace Hunter.
And I'm Sue Sierra Lupe.
And welcome to Real Herbalism Radio.
So, caca ladies.
Yes, it's been a rough one. We've aged.
That is a funny word, though. I've always felt that way.
That's a
Caca.
Caca. It's
Yeah.
always funny. I don't know where
Yeah.
it comes from, but it's funny.
I don't know. I don't know. I do know that Sara-Chana's visit was a timely one.
Yeah.
At least for me. I think for you too, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I've been noticing a lot of people actually running into problems or challenges that were completely unexpected, and a lot of emotional responses this year.
Yeah, and I know that there's always in the world, there's a natural disaster somewhere and a political issue somewhere and whatever. But I know that for me personally, the political situation has been extremely stressful. So
I've seen a lot of people going through a lot of grief and a lot of anger and a lot of dismay,
uncertainty, anxiety,
fear.
That definitely is part of it. Sleepless nights. Yeah. Because when I have a temper tantrum, then people just get annoyed with me. And when people in the political field have a temper tantrum, then people around me get hurt and die.
Yeah, people lose their homes when the politicians
jobs,
have those.
Everything.
Yeah,
so I'm very, very concerned about that, and I know I'm not the only one because I talk to a lot of people in vulnerable positions. So
there's about a lot of people who are not in what looks like vulnerable positions in our country, who are actually in much more vulnerable positions than we should be in.
That's for sure.
And the political stuff that's going on is making it really worse. Yeah.
Yep. So, and that's another piece of it too, is trying to have a presence that is not the same as what is actually happening. Like disguising what's going on for you is a lot of stress as well.
Yeah, that is a really stressful thing. Having to put on a happy face. That's really challenging.
Yep. And I'm in that position a lot too, being in a leadership role and being, in healthcare. Like it's people come in to get help from me and they're there for themselves, and it is my job to be there for them. And I know that sometimes the stories that I hear, they make me really angry and they make me really sad, but I need to focus on what's helpful for them and put my own stuff aside. So, it's a luxury position.
Yeah.
So I acknowledge that, and at the same time also acknowledge that that's also got its own stress load to it.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of people that are healers end up with that stress load as well.
Yeah.
It's an honor to be in that position, but it's also
really challenging.
Really challenging. So both Candace and I and Patrick, we've all been under our own stresses for different reasons. Yeah. And that's why this particular podcast that we had last week with Sara-Chana was so helpful. And we have our own little things that we're adding to it this time. For myself, because I work in a clinic, I'm always wondering about people's, when they come in, they're very stressed out, what their blood pressure looks like, what their blood glucose looks like, because that can be affected. If they've recently had antibiotics, if that's screwing with their gut bacteria, because if that's off. Or there's recent news that said if you're taking antidepressants, that can mess with your gut biome too. Oh, yeah. So those kind of things, they affect the way that we digest our food and can take stuff like, the trace minerals like magnesium, things that help you with mood stability.
Yeah, they also can contribute to mood changes and mood swings.
Right.
Just all of their own.
Yeah. Yeah. So if we've got those, and you're feeling stress, for myself, I know on my list is making sure I've got a good probiotic, fermented foods in my diet. I take supplements of D3 and B12.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, there's some recent research I was looking at on the B complex, most B complexes, which include B12
and B6.
And B6. And I think there's another one of the Bs in there usually.
Folic acid.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah, they've got new data that's pointing to that having a really positive effect when people are dealing with chronic depression.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And those are the kind of water soluble vitamins that you just like, okay, well, if I have pee out the rest of it, that's fine, because it's not going to stack up. Like vitamin A is fat soluble, so you can certainly work hard to get too much of any vitamins or minerals, but those in general, it's not going to hang out in your system. And I've also been like, normally I just say I need to eat a good diet and then it'll be taken care of. But the stress on me right now is so much that a good diet isn't good enough.
It's not enough. And we have, you can have a really good diet.
Yep.
You probably need to eat twice as many vegetables as you think you should, even if you think you're eating a great diet, because a lot of our vegetables don't have as much nutrition as they once did.
Right. Yeah.
With the depletion of our soils, pretty much like universally, like across the entire globe, we're seeing that happening in a lot of farming. It means that our vegetables just don't have nutrients in them in the way they once did. They're not as dense. So that means you got to eat twice as many of them. And it's hard to do that when you're coping with a lot of stress. It's hard to make sure your diet's right. And even if you do make sure it's right, your body's not going to absorb nearly as well. So, yeah.
Definitely. So the other thing that I've been trying to do, which has not been my favorite, is reducing coffee.
That's a challenging one, isn't it?
Boy, that is not my favorite.
No.
Boy, oh boy, is that not my favorite.
Right? Yeah.
Is it because of the stimulant properties? I mean, why would you have to?
Yeah, it kind of revs me up.
Yeah.
Which is great.
That's what it's supposed to do.
During the allergy season, I really appreciate it because that helps me with the sinus problems. But it also, when I get stressed, it goes right to my gut first. So having something that bitter upsets my stomach. So instead, I'm putting in like creamer and sugar.
Put in a gallon of milk product,
right? Which
to buffer all of that.
That's not something I should be. That doesn't help me.
No.
So it's just like a candy bar in a cup, and that is the last thing my body needs.
Yeah, yeah. You don't really need that. I mean,
that's going to make me worse.
You need the sweet taste, but that doesn't mean sugar. It means nourishing foods. Yeah. Those soul nourishing foods.
Yeah. So I'm still taking I have a cup of coffee a day, 1 cup.
Nice.
And I just have it black.
Nice.
Sometimes I will put, I'll throw a hot pepper in there.
Fun.
Just for snorts and giggles.
Yeah. One of the things I can recommend if you have to go off of something like coffee that you love, for me, a few years back, I realized I couldn't drink. There's a lot of things that aren't great for me to drink. So I kind of ended up with, oh, look, I have water or I have tea. Those are my 2 choices. And the tea may be tea, or it might be herbal infusion, but this is all I've got. And for myself, I was like, well, then if I'm not going to drink soda and I'm not going to drink coffee and I'm not going to drink juices and there's all this stuff I don't get, my tea had better be really good. So going down to one of the local roasters and getting just like a little half pound of the really fancy good stuff.
Right.
And I mean, we have so many good roasters right in our town. You could easily pick up just a small quantities and just have them grind it to the way you want. And then you've got something that becomes this incredibly luxurious when you do have your coffee for that 1 cup, and start to really focus on enjoying that one, savoring that one,
Yeah,
that
there's
helps
really
me.
something to that. There's a little fellow that I was with today, and he's 16 months old. And he's super sweet. He's super sweet. So I took out this little packet of oolong tea that I showed you guys.
Yeah, that stuff smelled heavenly.
I think you described it as
smells like graham crackers to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
for
got
tea, it's
vanilla
like
and it's got honey scent to it.
Oh,
and
man.
It's
just delightful. So
and you said it's not flavored, so that's even more.
It's just black oolong.
Yeah. So
I'm excited to give it a try, actually. Yeah.
So I showed it to the little fella, and he smelled it. And this is for smelling, and we're used to that, the flowers. And I take him to the garden all the time, so he's used to that notion. So he smells it, and he just sticks his face into. He's just relishing the smell of that, and he started to open his mouth. I'm like, no, we're not putting that in our mouth, sugar pie. Just smell. And so he, of course, because he's little, gives a big snootful and then
cute.
Yes. But that savoring, that little kids do.
Yeah, that really makes a big difference
Yeah.
when you have to give up something that you love, like the
Yeah.
coffee.
Right.
Saying, okay, well, I only get this much. I'm only getting my, 4 or 8 ounce cup or 6 ounce cup or
Right.
whatever a day. Make it be really good.
Yeah.
Take the time.
It's kind of like that where you say, is that dessert worth the calories?
Yeah.
Right.
You could have the
Yeah.
dessert from the grocery store, the dessert from a patisserie, and which one are you going to go with?
Right.
Yeah.
If I just have the grocery store one that's in front of me, I'm probably not going to do it
Mm-hmm.
because it's not worth the calories.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the patisserie one, that's probably worth the calories.
Well, and it also, if you end up with ones like that, usually you have to pay a little bit more for them. And it causes you to slow down and really let your whole body experience it.
Right.
And when you give that to yourself, it also helps shift your mood.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that you've got that, it might only be 10 minutes that you get with that cup of tea or coffee or your patisserie, but that's 10 minutes that you're just giving to yourself and nothing else, and that can help really
be more present in the moment.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times when you're trying to deal with depression or grief or anxiety, fears, worries, trepidations, all of those things, those 10 minutes or 5 minutes even of giving yourself fully over to the experience helps shift your mind too in a way that will ripple through the rest of the day in probably intangible ways that you may not notice at first. But when you look back over the last week and you're like, wow, actually, it was a rough week, but there are moments that weren't so bad. I got through it. It makes it easier to get through it.
Yeah.
Well, that also comes back into that mindfulness idea.
Yeah, it is. It's very
Instead
much.
of taking that really good cup of coffee, that really good tea, and watching a show.
Right. Yeah.
Or doing something where you're not really there with it, then it just becomes a thing and not your enjoyment.
Yeah. The toast that I ate in the car this morning, I don't have these warm, happy memories. I'm not resentful. Thank you, toast, for being toast. That's lovely. The toast lovers out there, please don't send emails.
Love the toast myself. I'm a big toast guy.
Yeah. Yes, but that's not the memory I'm bringing to the show here. I'm bringing that savoring the oolong and the smell of it and the rich color of the leaves and sharing it with that little fella.
Yeah, there's a nice twisted. It was the twisted style.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that kind of thing that helps you with your depression. Yeah, too. So
you can stack a lot of those moments together that maybe you won't be as depressed or down.
Yeah.
But, sometimes it's difficult. I know, Candace, you've been struggling.
I have been really struggling with a lot of depression and grief over the last week.
Yeah.
Or more.
and you've kind of have a setup of stuff that you've been taking herb-wise.
Yeah, I've got a decoction that I made. One of the things that when you're dealing with depression and grief, at least for me, that I've noticed with other people too, is that you really need to support your internal organs, like your liver and your kidneys, because grief has its own set of residues, its wastes, as it were.
Right.
The stuff that it sloughs off and the chemicals it creates. So you need a lot of support to keep those organs moving, keep your circulation moving well, and then get rid of and take out all of that stuff. And modern days, we've called them toxins. I don't know if toxin is the right word. I think waste is a nicer way of describing it. I think it's more accurate because it isn't really, it's toxic, but it's waste. It's waste.
If it lingers in your body, it can become
toxic. Yeah. So I've got a formula that I've been using, which is a Hisho Wu and white peony formula.
Oh, white peony, huh?
Yeah.
Good.
White peony is really a wonderful one for moving liver energy, which means your liver. It also refers to the liver meridian in Chinese medicine, but that is connected with the actual organ. So it helps keep that energy moving. And Hisho Wu does some similar.
Can you spell that, please?
He, Sho. I believe it's SHO. I always want to add a U to that, and I don't know that that's really belongs there. And then Wu is WU.
Okay.
I've also seen it sold as faux tea, FO space TI.
Oh, I think I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've
one I'm
got a
familiar with.
formula, and the formula that I have with that, I added ashwagandha and shatavari to it.
Ashwagandha, my favorite.
Yeah, and ashwagandha is a good adaptogen style, mildly stimulating, but not in a you can't sleep tonight kind of way. Just
Anti-inflammatory.
and that one is one that's typically traditionally in Ayurveda was used for or has been used for men. It's like oh, look, you are old enough to, begin to have wet dreams and think like a man. You take ashwagandha every day for the rest of your life.
Okay.
And shatavari is the women's version of that. So shatavari focuses very much on builds the women's reproductive system. It supports that, but it also supports the endocrine system as a whole. And so that one's the one, oh, you've got your first period. Here's your first cup of shatavari. Take that for the rest of your life, every day, And so when we think about them from more of a reproductive systems looked at through the scope of modern medicine, ashwagandha tends to boost and support testosterone and the various versions of testosterone in your body. And shatavari works on the estrogen system. And I believe it works with balancing estrogen and progesterone properly. It helps your body to balance those two, which in our current culture is one of the areas where women often go out of balance. They become either estrogen dominant, so they have more estrogen than progesterone, and the two don't balance with each other, or they have not enough progesterone at all. Like they might have way too much estrogen and normal progesterone, or they have normal estrogen but not enough progesterone. And shatavari helps to bring that into balance. So it's adaptogenetic in that way as well.
So is that like one part of each in your formula? Or?
Yeah. Right now I use, And then there are some other herbs that I've added in there, like licorice, which you use that a lot too.
I do. When I'm a stress out kind of person, anxiety ridden gal. So I like when I start getting all upset in my stomach, I'll use spearmint and licorice half and half. That's my little thing.
Yeah, and it's a nice formula.
Helps a lot.
Yeah.
Helps a lot. So go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, that's all right. Licorice is a terrific one. I added some burdock to that formula as well because it helps with supporting the digestive system and its particular affinity for the intestinal tract. So, your reproductive organs are in that area. So well, if part of the problem for me, I think might be perhaps some inflammation, let's use burdock and keep things moving as well, So it kind of hits the three major waste processing areas, liver, kidney, and intestinal tract.
Wow, that's cool. So another thing that I've been throwing out there, speaking of burdock, is Essiac tea formula.
I haven't used that one. So
it's just again, when I'm personally stressed out, then I get just a lot of inflammation, and this focuses on your.
So what is Essiac?
Oh, it's a formula that has burdock, sheep sorrel, slippery elm, and Turkish rhubarb root. I put dandelion in it, but just something to work on your digestive system and liver and kidney, like you just said.
Yeah.
But it was designed to help people recover from cancer.
Makes sense.
So people add that, and whether it's specific to helping folks recover from cancer or not, the other things that it definitely does for people that are in those kind of stressful situations, it's 100% works fabulous for that. So
it's got strong digestive herbs in there.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So is that a formula you buy?
It's a very, very old formula. ESSIAC is the way it's spelled, and it's the person who invented it, her name spelled backwards. So, but you'll see different
Nice.
versions of it all
Yeah.
over the place.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking like the slippery elm is one that I've been hearing over the last years is an endangered one, but you
Right.
could easily put marshmallow root instead.
Right, exactly.
That would be
Yeah.
an excellent substitute for
Which
that.
I think actually I do. I'm not a
Yeah.
big slippery
So
elm
you make
person.
this formula for you.
Yeah, and I just have it in a teacher at my kitchen window. Next to
Nice.
it is turkey tail and dandelion, and then occasionally I'll have like if it's cold and flu season, which
Nice.
it is right now, then I have elderberry sitting there.
Mhm.
Nice. You can grab squirt, squirt, squirt.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the morning, you tell mom's in the kitchen because you hear the ding, 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 ding of the
Yeah.
tincture against the glass of the.
Nice. Nice.
Me fumbling with the little tincture squirter.
Nice.
But it does wonders. It has really been a reliable. Maybe part of it is the ritual of it too, being
Yeah.
consistent with that.
Yeah.
It's fabulous. I do not like taking supplements at all. Like I don't like taking multivitamins. I don't like taking.
I had a hard
I take 'em.
time. I
I
had
take
a
'em
hard
now.
time with that for a long time. And
Taking
then
pills.
I ended up finding the ones that we take, and because they are all plant based and whole food based,
Uh-huh.
it was a lot easier, and I noticed they actually seem to be doing something,
Right.
which was really nice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I get excited now about sitting down and putting them in because I do the little pill keeper thing. We feel like we're like old people already,
Uh-huh.
but I'm like, I'd rather be putting supplements that are, good herbs and nutrition
Sure.
in. So
Yeah.
I don't mind so
even
much.
just that. Like I can do the tincture,
Mhm.
but the pills, and it's not like I have a hard time swallowing pills. I just don't
Right.
like.
It makes you feel old, and it makes you feel like you're a part of some kind of pharmaceutical system. Or
I guess
something.
I had to take a
it's-
lot of pills when I was growing up,
Yeah,
so I think it kind of reminds me of that.
I did
Well, if
too.
you think, if you look at I know Candace is talking about a lot of people that are older. I mean, they have their pill cabinet.
When
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
buy
You-
my
you know, and
yeah
they
when I
have
buy
their
the little
trays,
when I
you
buy
know.
the little tray
Yeah.
organizers, it's always a senior citizen on the picture.
Right.
Always.
And I don't feel like I'm that old yet.
Yeah,
Not that there's anything wrong.
Well, you
with
don't
being
have any gray
senior.
hair yet. I'm grayer
Yeah.
than you are, so
Yeah, that is
I-
true.
and we are the same age.
You guys
I
are
win.
both grayer than me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you
I
got that
get it.
salt and pepper. Women are paying money for that hair right now.
They are. Yeah,
Oh,
you're actually
great.
quite fashionable.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
about time.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Only took 50 years.
Yeah.
Mid 50s, and here it goes.
Yeah,
Not
yeah.
long.
The
But
other-
yeah. Anyway, let's get back to
Sorry,
this formula thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
There's a couple of other things I think that is important, which I've been trying to do. Which when I get out of the car, I've been trying to just sit there for a minute before rushing to the next thing.
Mm. Yeah,
like-
take a breath.
Look around. Where am I?
Yeah.
Instead of just being part of that pattern.
Yeah.
Get up and go to
Yeah,
work
especially if you're dealing with anxieties and that sort of thing, it's good to slow yourself down
Mhm.
and take those moments to just breathe.
Yeah, don't take so long that I can think about
Yeah,
what might
yeah.
potentially in imagination land be happening.
Yeah.
You just have to say, okay, here's the parking lot.
Engage
this
in
is
the
the weather,
sunshine
this is
and
the-
yeah.
Okay,
That's important.
all right, now out we go.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, for me it's been managing to just keep one foot moving in front of the other. Some days it's very hard
hmm
to just keep moving. And I know what happens when you don't keep moving.
hmm
Partly because I've done that at various points in my life and it's never good. And I've seen other people do that and it's never good.
Mhm.
It never works. So you have to keep moving. I give myself permission to have times to cry and that sort of thing. It's not like I can't fall down and dissolve into a bucket for a while, but then I have to get back up and keep going. And sometimes that's a challenge.
Yep. Sometimes I also have been watching stupid movies.
Yeah. I understand. I've watched a few.
Just
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch. Sorry, folks, if you're gonna be offended by this is my taste, not yours. Aquaman.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Well, that's when
That
you gotta
sounds
pay for it.
wonderfully
Uh-huh.
dumb.
You gotta pay for that one. I'm
It's
not
going to
share
be
it.
worth it
Yeah.
because I love the ocean.
Yeah.
So
So you
I'm
know
going to
it's gonna be
see it
good.
with my girlfriend
Nice.
because I love the ocean. So
That's
that's
awesome.
Yep, it's going to be fun
Yes.
because of the ocean. Yep.
Yep. There you go. Because of the
I
ocean.
love the ocean.
Okay.
Try not to laugh through the fight scenes. In the back.
God,
I could see you sitting in the very back row,
chuckling, away
laughing
and
loudly,
giving dirty looks.
cackling.
Yep, that's
There's
probably going to happen.
going to be a lot of comic book nerds potentially there.
I know.
Try to respect
It's
them.
just going to be middle-aged women. It's going to be like
Could
a
be.
whole row of middle-aged women. Dumb. That's what I'm expecting, and it'll be great.
Nice.
But yes.
I've been
That's
listening
part of
to audiobooks that are inspiring.
Oh,
Like,
great. Like what?
I just started listening to Becoming by Michelle Obama.
Oh,
And it's actually surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, I kind of knew it was going to be good, but it's very grounded, and it's
a healing
yeah.
book, huh?
yeah. I mean, there are points where I just, break into tears myself.
Right,
Like,
sure.
oh, why couldn't my life be like that? But,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of, okay, get over myself now. Was she really saying? I've had a few, I've written down a couple of notes for myself in my journal to like, okay, I want to come back to this thought and spend some time with that.
Mhm.
So that's been good. I also listened to a book called Leadership. Do you remember who that one was by? Patrick suggested it.
Yeah, her last name is Kearns.
Doris?
Doris. Yeah.
Doris
And she's
Kearns.
a very famous historian.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, she was a speechwriter or something in Lyndon Johnson's cabinet. or,
Yeah.
White House, and
Wasn't she the press secretary or secretary of state?
something. But
Secretary of something?
she went and taught at Harvard after working with him, and then would go see him on weekends until he passed.
Yeah.
Wow.
But she's very famous. She's written multiple books. She's done a lot of research with, and I mentioned that book actually
Yeah.
before the turn of the year. 'Cause it was
Yeah,
something
well,
looking
I
at.
listened to it.
Yeah.
I actually did listen to
Yeah.
it. And one of the things that I've been struggling with is I've had vertigo for like 3 months.
Ugh,
And
gotta stop that nonsense.
yeah, it's not pleasant. I can't lay down. And so I'm just began weightlifting in the second half of the year last year. And one of the things I love is the bench press. It's my favorite. And I was starting to feel like I was making good progress. And then the vertigo hit and I can't bench press because I can't lay down. And I don't want to be like trying to lift a heavy weight above myself and then have the world start spinning like bed spins.
no
That's no
kidding.
good. That's dangerous.
Yeah.
So I haven't been able to bench press, and it's been very depressing. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of yoga poses I can't do right now. And I don't know if the vertigo will ever go away. It may not. There's no prognosis.
You just got to be where you are right now with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so every time I do the ring rows, which are, oh God, they hurt. They make my arms burn.
Ring rows.
Yeah. So it's like doing chin ups or pull ups, but
Mhm.
with rings, like, Olympic people do the rings. It's like the rings.
Girl, I know what
right?
you're talking about. No,
And they're-
I will
and
not
they're-
do that.
they're
She's
like-
not splaying out in a T.
No, I can't do that. But you do them, and the rings are about shoulder height. So that's where you're pulling yourself up. You let yourself drop back, and you have to keep your body at like a plank, and then you just drop backward and then pull up. And you can vary where you put your feet in relation to the rings, makes it harder or easier, right?
Mhm.
So I do them, and then my arms will start to just burn because they're really hard. It's hard work on your muscles.
Mhm.
And I've been aggressive with it because I'm angry that I can't do bench pressing. So I'm like, well, at least I can do this. And every time I do it, I think of Franklin Roosevelt, because this is the kind of stuff he did after he got polio to rebuild his upper body. And so, listening to the leadership book, I was like, oh, she told the story of that's what he was doing. And
Wow.
so,
It really is inspiring.
Yeah,
And it's her name is Doris Kearns Goodwin.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I
Thank
read
you.
her Team Arrivals, the one about Lincoln. And yeah, now I knew the name was familiar. Man, you're right. Absolutely fabulous writer. I can understand why that would be inspiring to you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I've been listening to audiobooks to try to pull myself out, at least for a few moments of my own problems. Think about these things that Michelle Obama, honestly, she grew up in a place very different from me, you know, in that she grew up when she's like a decade or more older than I am. Decade older, I think.
Is she? I don't think she is.
She was in school in the 70s and graduated. She was going off, like the year that we graduated from high school, she was going off to her first job as a lawyer, if I remember correctly.
Probably 8 years then.
So she's, you know, she's older than I am. So it was a different time that she grew up in.
Yeah.
She grew up in the Chicago, so Midwestern, but Chicago has a very different vibe from Minneapolis, St. Paul. So different.
54.
But she also grew up in a household where it was traditional. Her mom was a stay-at-home mom and her dad worked, but they didn't have a lot of money. And in many ways, there are a lot of aspects of what she dealt with that I can relate to. I mean, many that I can't because, you know, white woman in Minnesota growing up during the time I did, I was very much fit in. And she didn't where she was as much, like when she hit college, but it's similar. You know, some of her experiences are similar.
Human relationship kind of stuff.
Yeah. And the kind of determination and willpower and, you know, self-discipline that she had to create for herself to get where she is today, you know, it's something that's inspiring. And so, you know, I'm like trying to remind myself, okay, you know, sure, you didn't have these things, but you do have those things and you'll be okay. If Michelle Obama can do it, I bet you can too. You know, I mean, she's not like some kind of miracle person. She's a normal person and she's done a lot. So if she can do it, I can.
So that's really been helping you out.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Well, it sounds like so the diet, supplements, some of these formulas we've thrown out, exercise, surrounding yourself with inspiration and surrounding yourself with inspiring people. Yeah. You know, I know I'm lucky to have
really good. Yeah.
Wonderful folks in my life. And I know that when I'm really hurt, I tend to pull back and just lick my wounds in my little cave, as it were. And that's not really what I should do.
Well, I mean, it's okay to take a couple moments, but then you really got to get yourself out with the people who really inspire you.
Yeah, definitely. Keep it moving. So I hope those are things that really help other folks that are going through similar kind of stuff. You know, you give yourself permission to not listen to the news a little bit if you don't want to.
Yes.
Or you can listen to the news and go, man, those people are dumb. I'm doing a lot better than they are. You know, you decide how you want to go through that. But send us some feedback. Give us some ideas, folks, on things that have been helping you that we haven't mentioned.
Yeah.
But
I would love to hear what kind of like smudge blends people are using.
Oh yeah, you were saying that you were using
the ladies in my animal communication group. There's one of them, and she always reminds us, you know, smudge, clear the energy, clear it, you know, just clear that out. And she's right. And I mean, the one that I use is cedar that I found. I don't remember where I found it, but wildcrafted.
Right. We have cedar all over.
Yeah, it's all over the place here. I think it was on a walk with you, actually. I think it was the cedar I got that time together.
Right,
yeah.
Sure.
And then garden sage from my garden.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've used white sage at times in the past, but I have to honestly say that I don't personally find it any better for clearing energy than the sage that grows in my own yard. So I just use that.
Right.
You know, I mean, I suppose if you live in an area where white sage is a natural part of the environment, it might be the right one to use.
And isn't on the endangered list.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's its own little thing too, is white sage and sage. Well, great. Yeah. But let us know, folks. Until then,
put an herb on it.
Statements made about herbs and products on this podcast have not been evaluated by the United States Food and Drug Administration, FDA, and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. All information provided on this podcast or any affiliated websites is for informational purposes only and is not intended as a substitute for advice from your physician or other healthcare professional. You should not use the information on this podcast and its affiliated websites for a diagnosis or treatment of any health problem. Always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new vitamins, supplements, diet, or exercise program before taking any medication, or if you have or suspect you might have a health problem. Any testimonials, questions, or case studies are based on individual results and do not constitute a guarantee that you will achieve the same results.